this thing out at some point down. I'll try and talk loud because I don't have much of a voice. Proud of our guys and the effort that went into winning this game. This is back-to-back games for us on the road where teams have been desperate for a win, and we've been able to gut it out late. And that just speaks to the guys that we have in our locker room. The guys that are playing, the guys that aren't playing. They're totally bought in, they're totally locked in. And this is a group that I enjoy being around every single day. And before I go to answering questions, Chris Holtman is a hell of a coach. If anybody's got any questions or doubts about that, you're crazy, man. That dude can coach. He's a hell of a coach. He's done it, right? Like, yeah, they're struggling this year. That dude can coach, man. So you can get that nonsense and that craziness. You can get it out of my face. I don't know what you, like, don't bring that over here to me. Not that you did or anything. Not that anybody cares what my opinion is. My opinion is he's a hell of a coach.
Dave.
Micah, when Funk and Pickett both got 2 fouls, what were you thinking, but what did you say to the players, and what was your plan in your head? Because that hasn't happened before.
Yeah, no, it hasn't happened to us very much. And, you trust those guys, right? They're smart, they're pretty heavy players. So they're still going to be in tough positions because we can't change our game plan up totally. So they're going to end up in some switches, they're going to end up on some tough covers. You just got to trust that they're not going to, foul unnecessarily, right? Show their hands, slide their feet, box out, do what they need to do, and just force tough shots and not pick up another foul. So I wanted to keep them engaged. Like you get 5 fouls, like 2's not a half. I think 2.5 is, my math is funky. But they still got 3 left. Just, do what you can to not pick that 3rd up. But I didn't want them to not be aggressive on offense or defense. If they're not being aggressive, then you got to take them out. But they were both being aggressive on both ends.
But they weren't in very often in this first half. You just put each of them in a little bit. The rest of the guys had to float your boat. So
yeah.
What did you tell them is what I meant.
Those guys, they're capable. They're capable, right? Like when I was getting ready for this game, I talked to our guys about not what Ohio State's doing right now, it's what they're capable of doing, right? That's Cam Winter. It's not what Cam Winter's capable, like what he's doing right now. It's what he's capable of doing. That dude's a 1,600-point game scorer in his 4 years. Like, he can get buckets. He hadn't done it consistently for us because he's not playing in the same way, but he had to slide over into that role, and he carried us. I thought Seth has always played pretty well against Ohio State. Him hitting some big shots, getting to the free throw line was big for us. They just steadied us. We needed somebody to help us hold on until we could get those guys back at full strength.
But Winter, did the challenge, do you think, flipped his switch because he has needed it to be flipped, or did he just see the ball go in early on, or what?
Could be a little bit of both. Like he has been challenged this year, and he's responded a lot. But he's just doing what we ask him to do, and we're trying to get him to be a little more aggressive offensively, and I think he's done that in the last few games. He didn't score much against Illinois, but having 14 at Minnesota, and then 18 tonight, like it just gives you another weapon that people are thinking about, people got to worry about, even when those guys come out. Right, it helps me. Right now, I feel a little better giving Pickett a break in the first half, in the second half, because you know what he's capable of at any point in time.
Pickett had your last 14 points in the final 7-15, and it was seemed like a different defender every time. Thornton, Sensabaugh, he was trying to, and maybe even McNeil. He took McNeil off the dribble. Just what is the comfort in knowing that if you put the ball in that guy's hands, that good things are going to happen down the stretch, I guess?
That's the thing you have with him is even when he's not playing at his best, right? I didn't think he was very good in the first half before he got his fouls. He can get it going at any moment. And, I haven't looked at the box score, but like, they went under a couple times. He stopped behind, hit a three, which he's been doing, right? Which now, he's 2 for 2 from three. He was 5 for 9, I think the other day, or 2 games ago. He's like 4 for 8. Like, it takes away ways that people can guard him. Now you're limited. You can only do so much, right? Like, I've coached a lot of basketball. There's only so many ways you can guard a ball screen. And him making threes eliminates one of them. So now you're down to a couple, and then we just figure out what you're doing. And then we just try and get him in the right spots, and he makes plays for us. He's trying to will us every single game to something, just to wins, just to like be gutsy and get some wins, and he's doing it. And man, when you got a guy like that, like you just ride him as long as you can.
School record 308 3-pointers, I think, is what you ended up with here at the end of the game. Just it's a perimeter team, but to accomplish that and to shoot it that well for the whole season, just your thought about that record?
Just a combination of having really good shooters, but you gotta have shooters that make shots. That's the biggest thing, right? We got more makers than shooters, and our guys are comfortable shooting it. They're comfortable taking tough shots. Seth Lundy is 4 for 8. Like, it's got to still be leading the Big Ten in threes. I think we're 1-2 with he and Funk in makes and percentage, right? Miles Dredd, who has struggled a little bit here recently, like even though he struggled, his numbers are still really good where you got to guard him. And now you put all those guys. Cam's gotten into a rhythm. He's making threes. Now what do? Right? You either got to come down and double pick it, or you let him play one-on-one because of those guys making shots. So I'm proud. It's awesome for us to set the school record for threes, but that's not our ultimate goal. It's just a byproduct of how we're playing and what we're doing.
Ohio State had 1 turnover. Have you ever been a part of any game where a team had 1 turnover, and try to describe what it's like to have to play every possession of defense pretty much the full time?
Yeah.
And that's how you hung on at the end, because you just kept having to do that and pretty much did it.
Yeah, and we're not built that way to force turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Just because we're smaller, right? If we're out trying to get steals, if we're in passing lanes now, people are getting biased. They're getting to the rim and they're scoring. We don't have backline help. We don't have Felix Akpara back there blocking shots, and Kevin got injured there a little bit late, so he didn't play as much, and everybody was small. So our defense is more about positioning, more about keeping you in front, more about not letting you get angles, taking tough shots, and then we're inside of you when the shot goes up. So now we don't give up offensive rebounds, right? Like, you take out, they got 13, but they probably got 12 on the last possession. Felt like, but we haven't given up a lot of offensive rebounds as on a whole on the season, but we don't force a lot of turnovers. But for us to have possessions, we can't turn the ball over either. So another clean game from us, with 4, and I thought they did a good job of pressuring us, putting pressure on the perimeter, and our guys just handle it. So we're getting a shot every possession as well.
Coach, I was just wondering if you could kind of expound further upon, obviously your defensive coach Holman kind of elicited a strong response there to open up. What have you seen from him in terms of, what you respect about him to make you say something like that coming out?
I just for a long time, right? He's got a history of winning, right? I haven't even gotten through year 2. He has a history of winning built up everywhere he's been, and some teams, you get to this point in the season, it's late February, I don't know what they've lost, 8, 9, something like in a row, right? People are ready to quit at some point in time if you're not connected, if you're not playing for each other, if you're not playing for your coach, you're gonna quit. They haven't quit. They're still playing. They're still playing hard. That's the sign of a good coach. That's a sign of a team that's bought in. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing from them, from his team, and they're gonna keep fighting. I know that much.
You touched on Pickett, and obviously what he gave you, scoring 14 straight down the stretch like that. When you look at just in general, how this game went, those final minutes, do you see the difference between a team that had lost 8 straight and a team that had just won a game on the road where it had to claw back?
I think there was a little bit of belief, right? With us having just gone on the road and having to make tough plays to win it down the stretch. We haven't done that very much on the road, right? It takes one to get confidence. So now, like, you get to that point in time, our guys start to feel a little confident. You know, on the other side, the same thing, right? If things don't go well, then your mind starts to drift about, oh man, is this gonna be the same thing, right? Like, those are things that you're thinking about. I go back, this has nothing to do with us or Ohio State, but I just remember talking to Al Horford it was a game 7 and on the sidelines, and we ended up like pulling away from a team in the game 7. And he was telling me that, like, at this point in time in the game, it was still like the third quarter, he was like, your mind starts to drift a little bit. You get away from the game and like what's happening in the moment, and you start thinking about, man, is this it, right? Is this the end? Is this, like, you know, they could be thinking about, I don't know, but like your minds might start to drift to the bad more than the good. And I think that's a battle for every college basketball player, is confidence. And it's all you need is a little bit of confidence for something good to happen, and then things can get rolling. Like, we didn't have it. We lost 4 straight, and it just took like one small thing for us to get that confidence back and start believing we were a good team, right? They just need to see something good happen to them, right? Maybe that's, you know, it could be this game, right? We didn't win at Maryland, but we played well in the second half, and we were in the game for a long stretch. They went on a run at the end and knocked us out, but we were playing well, and that spurred us into a win in our next game against Illinois. This could be the game for them, right? They felt like they played hard, they played together, they were in it until the end. This could be the one that flips it for them, and now they win a few in a row going into the Big Ten tournament.
Last question.
Coach, only 9 minutes for Jalen Pickett in the first half. How much of that fresh leg mentality was it? How big and important was it to have him fresh legs in that second half where he dropped 21 points when he usually averages 35 plus a game?
I don't know if that dude gets tired. I literally, like, he plays like 28 minutes for him is like a vacation. Like, the dude plays so much. He leads, I don't know if he leads the country, but he's probably close. And he just doesn't get tired. He doesn't wear down. There's probably only maybe one game I can think of. The Wisconsin game at home, I thought he looked tired, right? And that was because of me. Like, I sabotaged him. But I thought he looked tired in that game. At no point in time in any of I can't do the math, but all these games that we played in 2 years, have I thought that he's ever looked tired at the end. And part of that's the work that he does on his body after games, right? He's in the training room with Justin. He's in the weight room with Greg, preparing himself to play that many minutes, to play that physical for that many minutes on both ends of the court, right? He's not like, he's guarding Justice Suing for most of the game. He's not shying away. We're not putting him on the water boy in the corner somewhere. He's guarding real people. He's scoring the ball. He's rebounding. I was tired running from our bench back to the locker room. I was gassed, couldn't even talk to our team. I had to take a breath, take some water. And this dude is, you know, he can play all day.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.